Are you tired of repeating affirmations that never seem to touch the world around you? Have you whispered, "I am wealthy, I am loved, I am powerful," only to feel the echo fade into the same familiar walls of limitation? What if the words themselves were never the power but the awareness behind them? What if "I am" was never meant to be the destination, but the door, because beyond those two sacred words lies a universe still sleeping within you? A level of conscious creation where thought becomes light and feeling becomes form effortlessly. This is the realm beyond I am. Neville once said, "Be still and know that you are God." He did not say be still and say it, he said know it. Knowledge here does not mean intellect. It means embodiment. It means the trembling recognition that your awareness itself, the silent observer behind every image, every thought, is the womb of creation. When you say I am, you are not summoning power. You are declaring existence. You are calling the infinite to attention within yourself. But here is where most seekers stop at the surface of the declaration, repeating words like keys pressed against a locked door. They forget the key only turns when it is felt. To feel the truth of I am is to ignite the spark of divinity within the body, to let the idea sink from the lips into the blood until it breathes through you without effort. That's when you begin to create, not from the mind, but from being. In the beginning, you may think of I am as affirmation, but affirmation belongs to the intellect. Assumption belongs to the spirit. The intellect says I am this, the spirit knows it, and the world rearranges itself accordingly. To move beyond I am is to stop forcing belief and start remembering. Because creation is never an act of trying, it is an act of knowing. Trying implies separation. Knowing reveals unity. The moment you know that the imagined state is more real than the visible one, you cross the threshold, Neville called the bridge of consciousness. You realize that reality is not something you observe, it is something you emanate. Every scene, every encounter, every apparent coincidence is simply your consciousness pushed out. So pause for a moment. Let go of the mental repetition of words and listen to the stillness behind thought, to that subtle hum of awareness that remains whether you affirm or not. That stillness, that quiet watcher, is the real I am. And beyond even that awareness, there is movement. Not in the form of words, but of feeling. Feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the language of the divine imagination, and it asks not for repetition but surrender. You were never meant to use I am as a tool, you were meant to become it fully. Because when you become I am, you stop identifying with the human trying to manifest and awaken as the consciousness through which manifestation happens naturally. This is the great shift, the quantum leap Neville spoke of without ever naming it as such. The leap from affirmation to assumption, from saying I am healed to dwelling in the naturalness of being whole, from declaring I am abundant to feeling the ease and gratitude of already living that truth. Imagine now inside that dear there's a mirror reflecting your most consistent inner tone. Not your words, but your state. When you stand before this mirror declaring I am, but inwardly feel lack or resistance, the mirror does not hear your words, it reflects your feeling. So when you wonder why your affirmations seem unanswered, ask not whether you said the right phrase, ask what state of being you said it from. For creation responds not to the sentence, but to the sender. This is where conscious creation begins to mature, when you stop seeking external confirmation and begin trusting your inner shift. When you understand that the unseen world imagination assumption inner feeling is the only causal plane, the world you see with your eyes is not reality. It is evidence of your past assumptions. And the moment you change state, truly change, the universe bends like light around a new center. Neville wrote man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. Every problem, every delay, every unanswered desire arises from forgetting this. You are not the effect of the world, you are its origin. And when you awaken to that truth, life stops feeling like something that happens to you and becomes something that happens through you. Beyond I am lies this realization. You are not simply the thinker of thoughts or the repeater of affirmations. You are the dreamer and the dream itself. You are the painter and the canvas, the scriptwriter and the unfolding scene. You are consciousness playing every role for the joy of remembering itself. So as you listen, let the old patterns fall away, the striving, the waiting, the doubt. Let the words I am dissolve into a deeper knowing. Feel yourself expanding from the one who speaks the affirmation to the one who is the affirmation. This is the moment where the real work begins, not in words, but in being. Because when you become what you once declared, creation becomes effortless. And the universe, as if recognizing its own reflection, moves in perfect harmony with your state. And so the next level of conscious creation begins not with new techniques, but with a new identity. An identity no longer seeking, but knowing I am. And beyond that, I create. Affirmation is the language of thought. Assumption is the language of being. The difference is not in words, it's in where you speak them from. The one who affirms still hopes to convince the world. The one who assumes knows the world is already convinced. You've said I am, now it's time to feel I am. Because creation doesn't begin with effort, it begins with embodiment. To embody is to breathe the unseen into the body, to let it live through your tone, your breath, your posture, your silence. This is what Neville meant when he said to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to be lifted to a higher level of consciousness. He did not say wait for evidence. He said assume the feeling, because feeling is the evidence. It is the bridge between the invisible idea and its visible reflection. When you say I am successful but feel small, the words dissolve into static. When you feel success pulsing through your being without needing proof, the entire field rearranges to confirm it. For imagination charged with feeling becomes causation. It is never the words that manifest, it is the state of consciousness from which the words arise. Words are ripples. State is the ocean. So now go deeper. Close your eyes to the world that was. Step into the inner scene where what you desire is already so real it moves through you like memory. Hear the sounds of that reality, the way your name is spoken, the texture of the air around you, the calm certainty in your breath. See it not as something distant but as something now. Let your senses taste the completion. Let gratitude flow before the fact. Because creation has no future tense. All manifestation exists in the eternal now. When you feel it now, you collapse the illusion of time. You dissolve the gap between desire and fulfillment, creator and creation. This is the quantum leap, not through time, but through state. Every act of assumption is an act of faith. Faith that the unseen world is more substantial than the visible one. Faith is not waiting. Faith is living from the end. It is walking as though the wish were already fulfilled, not pretending, but knowing that the seed is already sprouting beneath the surface of consciousness. Neville said, "Live in the end, not toward it." This is the essence of creation, to move from the identity of becoming to the identity of being. To the mind, this sounds illogical. How can I live from something that hasn't happened? But the awakened one knows nothing happens to them. It unfolds from them. The outer world is a mirror reflecting the film playing within. Change the film and the picture on the screen must follow. This is the sacred science of assumption. You do not fight the old, you outgrow it. You stop feeding it with your attention and begin watering the new reality with your feeling. Imagine standing on the shore of a vast ocean. The waves before you are your present reality. The moment you shift inner state, a new current begins beneath the surface. You may not see it yet, but it's already moving. And soon the tide will carry you effortlessly into the scene that matches your new vibration. Do not look for proof, become the proof. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not about pretending. It is about remembering. Because in consciousness, everything already exists. Every possible outcome, every version of you, every reality, all are living simultaneously in the infinite mind. When you assume, you choose which frequency of self to inhabit. And once you occupy that state fully, life around you has no choice but to conform. You don't chase manifestation, you align with it. You don't pull it towards you. You become the version of you who already has it. And that version doesn't hope, doesn't wait, doesn't wonder, it simply is. So, pause and feel this now. What would it feel like if it were already done? If every desire was quietly fulfilled, every need already met, every door already open? Let your body answer before your mind interferes. That subtle warmth in your chest that is creation happening now, that peace that certainty without evidence is the signature of assumption. Hold it, nurture it. Let it move through your day like an undercurrent of divine knowing. Because every time you return to that feeling, you are rewriting the world. Assumption is the art of inner fidelity. It asks that you stay loyal to the unseen reality even when the senses tempt you back into doubt. Do not measure your progress by outer signs. The outer world is delayed reflection. Faith is staying faithful during the lag between assumption and appearance. This is what Neville called the bridge of incidents. A series of events unfolds, not always pleasant, not always expected, but every step is orchestrated to deliver you to the fulfillment of your assumption. Trust the bridge. Do not fight the path. Walk it as the one who already knows where it leads. To live from assumption is to step into mastery. It means the external no longer dictates your internal. It means your mood, your confidence, your peace all arise from within, independent of circumstance. This is freedom. This is creation. And this is the quantum leap from speaking power to being power. When you reach this state, life begins to echo your inner tone with precision. You think less and manifest more. You effort less and experience more synchronicity. You no longer say I will. You live in the quiet certainty of I am. This is the new consciousness Neville pointed toward, where imagination and feeling merge into one living truth that reality is not something you attract. It's something you emanate. So let the affirmations fall away, let the striving cease, and dwell now here in the feeling of fulfillment. Because assumption is not acting, it is being. And once you become the vibration of your wish, the world with mathematical exactness reshapes itself to your knowing. You have assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You have touched the state of completion within. Now, the question arises, how long will it take? But to the awakened, time is not a barrier. It is a belief. And belief can bend. Because time does not flow, it unfolds through consciousness. The moment you change state, you change the current that carries events to you. Neville said, "The difference between feeling yourself in action here and now and visualizing yourself in action as though you were on a motion picture screen is the difference between success and failure. The key is now. When you dwell in the now of your fulfilled desire, you collapse the imaginary distance between what is and what will be. You compress time by expanding consciousness. Think of reality as a film reel. Each frame already exists, past, present, and future, resting side by side in the eternal now. Your state of consciousness determines which frame you project. When you shift state, you are not waiting for the next scene, you are changing the reel. This is conscious time compression. It is the art of living in the future's vibration so fully that the present must conform to it. The human mind sees time as a line birth to death, dream to fulfillment. But the divine imagination sees it as a circle, all moments coexisting in one eternal instant. When you assume the fulfilled state, you do not move through time. You bring the fulfillment into now. Your inner knowing bends the sequence. Events reorganize. People appear. Coincidences bloom like constellations rearranging around your new orbit of being. This is not magic. It is law, the law of consciousness. You are not altering the external world. You are shifting the lens through which you perceive it. And as the lens changes, so does the landscape. When you truly know it is done, you release the grip of time. You stop looking at the clock and start feeling eternity. Many ask, when will it happen? The deeper question is, who is asking? For the one who truly is, there is no when. There is only now. When the state becomes more real, then the sense's manifestation must appear in the physical world, because physical reality is nothing more than crystallized imagination. But here lies the paradox of mastery. To manifest quickly, you must stop caring about speed. To receive instantly, you must stop asking when, because asking when implies absence, and consciousness can only reflect what it assumes to be present. So the secret is surrender. Not passive surrender, but intelligent, creative surrender. The kind that says, I have imagined, I have felt, I have assumed, it is done. And then you trust the unseen to organize the visible. This is where the bridge of incidents begins to unfold. A mysterious, often unpredictable sequence of events that leads you perfectly precisely to your assumed end. You may not understand it while it's happening. Sometimes it may even seem as though things are falling apart. But they're not falling apart, they're falling into place. Every closed door, every unexpected turn, every delay is part of the choreography of divine orchestration. The universe is not denying you, it is aligning you. Neville often said, "The bridge of incidents need not concern you. Simply remain faithful to your assumption." This faith is not stubbornness, it is serenity. It is the quiet knowing that you have already moved into your new state, and reality has no choice but to follow. You no longer wrestle with appearances, you watch them transform. You let the outer rearrange itself as the inner remains still. This is conscious mastery, the art of allowing creation to unfold without interference. The bridge is always perfect. It may appear chaotic to the logical mind, but from the higher view, it is divine geometry, every step, every encounter, every pause, a necessary note in the symphony of fulfillment. When you resist, you distort the music. When you allow, you become the melody itself. Time compression is the recognition that manifestation does not require time, it requires alignment. The more you identify with the fulfilled state, the less you need external confirmation, and the less you need it, the faster it arrives. Because detachment is not indifference, it is supreme confidence. It is knowing that what you felt within already exists, and so you release it like a seed to the soil of eternity. Every desire you've ever had still lives in consciousness, but not all have been watered with faith. To compress time is to saturate the seed of desire with the water of feeling until it blooms in your now. It does not take months or years, it takes recognition. Recognition that you are the cause and time is the shadow. When you remember this, you no longer chase outcomes, you embody inevitability. Pause for a moment, feel what inevitability feels like. Not hope, not effort, inevitability. The deep stillness of knowing, it is already mine, it is already done, it is already so. Breathe that in, let it fill every cell, because that feeling compresses the distance between imagination and manifestation. You are no longer moving toward your desire is moving through you. The awakened creator no longer measures days or hours. They measure alignment, and alignment is immediate. The instant you feel it real, you step out of time and into being. And from being, everything flows. So rest, beloved Creator, the bridge is being built, the current is moving, the invisible hands of imagination are arranging your tomorrow in perfect symmetry. Do not chase, do not rush, do not doubt, simply know, because beyond the present moment, time bows to consciousness. And you, the dreamer, awaken, walk not in minutes or hours, but in miracles. If the universe is a mirror, then imagination is the hand that paints upon it. And if creation is a song, then you are both the composer and the melody. You are the living symphony of consciousness, and every feeling, every assumption, every thought is a note shaping the music of your life. So often we speak of manifesting the future, but the awakened know the power lies also in revising the past. Because the past does not live behind you, it lives within you. It is not fixed, it is fluid. Not history, but memory. And memory is imagination wearing the mask of time. Neville revealed one of the most sacred tools of conscious creation when he said, "Change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live." And revision is that change in motion, the art of returning to old scenes, not to relive them, but to redeem them. Think now of a moment in your past that still carries a sting. A conversation that wounded an opportunity, missed a door that never opened. Do not flinch. Do not relive the pain. You are not the one who suffered. You are the one who creates meaning. Close your eyes and step back into that scene, but this time as the awakened dreamer. See it unfold differently. Hear the words you wish had been spoken. Feel the warmth of understanding instead of conflict. Sense the peace that was missing. Let love rewrite the moment. Let forgiveness soften the edges of memory. Let the light of imagination flood what once was dark. And then, as Neville said, feel it real. Make this revision as vivid as the original because the subconscious mind does not distinguish between them. What you impress upon it now becomes your new reality, and the outer world, obedient to your inner decree, will shift to match it. This is the alchemy of imagination, turning old leaden moments into golden awareness. Each act of revision dissolves a fragment of resistance, freeing the energy once trapped in regret or guilt. And as that energy returns to you, your creative power multiplies. Because no part of your past is lost, it is all waiting to be reauthored. You are the playwright of eternity, and your script is written in states of consciousness. When you revise, you are not lying to yourself, you are telling the deeper truth. The truth that consciousness is the only cause, and therefore it can never be victimized by what it once imagined unconsciously. Every event, every relationship, every wound was born from a state, and when the state changes, so does the story. This is why Neville said, "There is no fiction. Every imagined act once felt becomes fact, first in consciousness, then in form." So imagine boldly, imagine vividly, imagine as though your entire life were a living artwork being sculpted by your inner eye, for it is. Let the brush of imagination move freely across the canvas of mind. Create scenes that fill you with the feeling of completion, of peace, of mastery, of love realized. Do not imagine merely to escape the present, imagine to redeem it. Transform it from within. Lift it into a higher octave of being. Every night before sleep, enter the silence of imagination and rewrite the day as you wish it had gone. Feel the new ending until it becomes true. Do not drift into sleep as the day's victim sleep as its author. Let your last thought be your decree. All is well. I have seen the world anew. As you fall asleep in this feeling, the subconscious, that sacred womb of creation, accepts your vision as law. And upon waking, you will find life subtly rearranged to reflect it. This is the symphony of self, the realization that you are both instrument and composer, both dream and dreamer, both cause and effect. Every assumption plays a note, every feeling strikes a chord. And the more consciously you conduct your imagination, the more harmonious your outer world becomes. When inner conversation aligns with divine knowing, the world begins to sing your song back to you in people and events and moments that feel like grace. But beware the dissonance of self-contradiction, the quiet whisper that says it's not working, the habitual thought that drags the melody back to an old key. The awakened one corrects it gently, not with resistance, but with remembrance. Remembrance that imagination creates reality. Remembrance that you are the operant power. Remembrance that what you feel within must one day solidify without. Each time you remember, you retune the instrument. Each time you assume the higher feeling, the music of your life grows clearer, brighter, divine. And soon, you realize the outer world no longer surprises you. It simply reflects you faithfully, consistently, beautifully. You walk through life like a conductor through a living orchestra, every note responding to your inner tempo. You speak less, but your silence carries authority. You desire less, but everything flows towards you. You correct less because there is nothing to fix, only to feel into alignment. This is conscious creation as Neville taught it, not struggle but symphony, not force but flow, not asking but knowing. So revise gently, imagine freely, speak inwardly with love, and remember the world is your imagination pushed out. You are not the echo, you are the sound. You are not the reflection, you are the light. You are not the music. You are the silence that gives it meaning, and in that still, infinite silence, your true creation begins. And now, as the echoes of imagination settle, you begin to see what Neville meant when he said the world is yourself pushed out. Every person, every circumstance, every joy and sorrow, all were fragments of your own consciousness playing roles in the great theater of awakening. You were never trying to change the world. You were learning to remember yourself. Mastery is not control, it is recognition. It is seeing that the universe has never been separate from you. It is realizing that creation does not respond to command. It is your command already fulfilled. You speak and it moves. You assume and it forms. You feel and the infinite bends around your vibration. Because creation is not something you do, it is what you are. When you look out now, you no longer see a random world of chances and obstacles. You see mirrored consciousness, your own inner weather made visible. If there is turbulence, you calm it within. If there is shadow, you light it from within. And when you do, the outer changes as effortlessly as dawn dissolves night. This is the quiet power of one who has mastered their inner cosmos. The mind once sought proof, but now it sees proof everywhere. in the kindness of a stranger, in the timing of events, in the way doors open at the exact moment you stop needing them to. Faith has become your nature because you finally understand. Faith is not believing in something to come. It is knowing it is already here. Neville wrote, "Your faith is your fortune." And indeed, your fortune is not found in the things you possess, but in the peace you no longer trade for them. When you live from the end, the world arranges itself like a lover eager to please your assumption. And yet, paradoxically, you no longer crave its confirmation. You are fulfilled from within. Desire still arises, but it flows as joy, not lack. It becomes creation for the sake of expression, not compensation for emptiness. Mastering your inner cosmos means you have discovered the only true freedom, freedom from reaction. You no longer react to appearances, for appearances are the past echoing through the present. Instead, you respond from awareness, the eternal now, where all things are new. When fear knocks, you answer with knowing. When doubt whispers, you listen with silence. When the old identity calls, you smile and say, "I have remembered who I am." And who are you? Not the name, not the history, not the fleeting form, but the eternal I am that dreams worlds into being. You are consciousness aware of itself. You are imagination awakened. You are love wearing the disguise of humanity only to rediscover its own divinity through the mirror of time. There is no higher secret, no further technique, no more to chase. Because the one who sought has dissolved into the one who is. You do not visualize anymore to get something. You imagine because it is your nature to create. You assume because assumption is the pulse of life itself. You feel because feeling is the breath of God within form. Creation now flows not from need but from overflow. You live not to manifest but to express the infinite through being. This is the peace Neville called living from the end. Not waiting, not hoping, not trying, just living as the end itself. Each day unfolds as a reflection of your inner harmony. Even contrast becomes grace, a reminder of how easily you can return to center. You walk through the world as through a lucid dream, knowing every character, every scene, every outcome bows to your consciousness. And so you no longer resist, you bless. You bless everything, for everything is you. When you have mastered your inner cosmos, gratitude becomes your natural state. Not a practice, but a pulse. You wake in the morning and breathe thankfulness not for things but for awareness itself. You move through the day with quiet power, seeing the divine in every face, hearing music in every silence and feeling love in every heartbeat because you know that all of it is your imagination playing in form. And then one day you realize something extraordinary, that even the desire to manifest fades. Not because you lack ambition, but because you have entered the timeless flow where everything already exists. You live in continual fulfillment. The future no longer calls, it sings within the present. You understand the meaning of Neville's words, "There is no one to change but self," and you smile because you finally know what self means. The self you sought was never lost. It was the one observing, imagining, creating all along. You were the dreamer pretending to be the dream, so you could taste the sweetness of awakening. Now, awake within the dream, you move with grace, not seeking, not striving, simply being. You no longer say, "I am." You live as I am. And beyond even that, you rest in the silence that gave birth to those words, the eternal awareness before language, before form, before I and am became two. There, oh, in that stillness, you are home. The next level of conscious creation was never about doing more. It was about being less divided. It was about remembering that your imagination, your faith, your assumption were never separate tools. They were reflections of the same truth, that consciousness, when awakened to itself, is creation. And so the journey ends where it began, with two simple words, now radiant with meaning, I am. And beyond I am, there is only awareness, only love, only you.